This is Jason T. Ingram. This is part of my video log, and I'm talking about mostly issues about getting my career again in music and entertainment. I used to be a music teacher 12 years ago and went through conversion therapy programs that really fucked up me, and so been recovering for the last 10 years or so with that. And dealing with being public about living with mental illness. And it's interesting how coming out as a mentally ill person is very similar to coming out as a gay person. It's just that I'm experiencing some things in my community that I experienced in the anti gay world. And it's kind of freaking me out, but it's just, having dealt with a lot of anger and then I sort of move on and then I feel better and so this is kind of one of those times when this week I got an incredible amount of stuff done. And I mean, some stuff that I was putting off that, if it just has to do with writing an email or two. And I have a tendency to write really confusing emails, so I agonize over them. So I wrote to one of the biggest franchises here in the Pacific Northwest that is known for its live music. And I not only wrote them offering to play for them, I offered to do a residency. So, and then at this one place, I offered 10 times more than we usually make, and they accepted it. So it's really weird how when you put yourself out there as somebody who immediately kind of demands high standards, that people sometimes go with that. Now, if I had that kind of presence in person when I'm around people, that would be great. But I doubt I'll hear back from this one particular corporation. But it was really fun to just do that. And oh my God, I have contacted some other people. One of them, actually, a couple that I am contacting. One I haven't yet, but I met somebody in person who is connected to the dance world, and then somebody who owns a dance studio, and then somebody who owns a really cool artsy theater dance project. Because Dialectic Flowers, I mean, oh, and another one I haven't contacted yet is I want Dialectic Flowers to play at Comic-Con and the Wizard Fest and stuff like that. Card games, Magic the Gathering, collector games. Oh my God. And so first I have to educate these people on what music is. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad, but I heard that there is some music there. I can maybe go as a presenter. So that's kind of my next little hurdle to get over. And I got over a lot of them, and I'm feeling very confident, and got over a depression I was in lately, and so now it's like, oh crap, I'm going right into mania. But I did have like 4 or 5 days in a row where I actually had a normative on my mood chart, because it's usually, I mean, the bipolar symptoms I deal with are really fucking extreme, and it's very difficult, along with a personality disorder and the panic attacks. It's just so hard to know what normal is. So that's normal for me, I guess. I didn't feel like I was either too manic or too depressive. So I'm really not in a good place to be doing a video log, because I'm definitely in the mode of my hyperactive mind and having a hard time just sitting and resting, which is important. And I think when I was feeling better throughout the middle of the week, I think it sort of made me feel that, my self-care, it's kind of like, if I'm taking my medications for 5 years and, what if I get off of them and, okay, I guess they were working, So the self-care stuff is working. And I think my getting up routine, I can't call it my morning routine, because morning for me is sometimes noon. And my getting up routine, it's so hard, because I just think, oh, it's so time consuming to do this stuff. And like today I had an appointment right after I woke up, and then another appointment right after that, and so I just really didn't have time. And I was very motivated to get some work done at home, and so that's just kind of where I'm in the middle of that. But I wanted to document this time to kind of just sort of get a feel of where my energy's at when I'm going through these things, because a lot of times people don't pick up on them, and some do. Often they see it as a character flaw, and that's such a difficult stigma to get over. And I try to communicate that to folks, and I'm just having a hard time either communicating it or finding people that can understand and respect that. And so that's a real challenge. But anyways, I got to meet with my mom today, and she texted me about Voc Rehab, which is fun. I'm just sort of going over these because they're really fun. My mom and I text, throughout the week. Sometimes, maybe 3 or 4 days will go by, but then we start to worry about each other. And then so she was talking about getting her new car. She picked up her new car today, so that's awesome because she's getting her knees replaced sometime this year, and it's so hard for her to get in and out of this tiny little car she had for 10 years. So that was fun. And I didn't know how much we spent, like 3 hours together, and it just whizzed by. We just had lunch and then stopped off at the library. It's like, man. And then so she texts me, and it was the funniest text. I haven't responded back though. Because my mother and I, like a lot of gay men, very much like a friendship, like a very weirdly close friendship, and yet with a parent kid element as well. So she says, "Had fun with you today. You are such an interesting guy." 3 exclamation points. A great conversationalist. Hey, do you want to piggyback on my Netflix? And you're talking about Netflix and how I was like, I let mine slide, Blah, blah, blah. So, anyways, it's great to have that kind of support. I'm so grateful for the friends and the people in my life that have helped me through this. And I didn't have that 10 years ago. Thank God for my first partner. If I didn't have him for 2 years of my life and still remaining friends, I would probably still be in anti-gay therapy and trying that life and killing myself, basically, if not self-harming myself in slow ways, taking my own life, which was something I tried to at one point, and that was just a bit over 10 years ago. So, as hard as things are, and as much as I feel a lot of silence around me, the more I try to break out of my shell and start doing this stuff that I love to do, it is very hard dealing with the amount of rejection that I am, and that's something. It's definitely brought me to face a lot of these issues, and I'm not doing a very good job at it either. But hey, at least I'm going forward. What I don't want to do right now, and this might be a reminder to myself, and this might help other people, because chances are you're following this video log because you're mentally disabled or dealing with something similar, and you're tired of bosses telling you what to do, or you're tired of not being able to get a job, and for whatever reason, it's time to get your career back. And I think this time is interesting because it's very, that expression, uncertain times. This is one of those times in history where we really don't know what's going to happen in the next year or several. And so I think people are preparing more for any outcome and then trying to realistically plan for, the most realistic outcome. But still in the back of our minds, we're still thinking like, this could really be the end of a lot of things that we've taken for granted for years. And I think about that a lot. And sometimes I think way too much. So part of coping with anxiety is doing things like, a security camera in your home, and then, looking at it on your mobile device if you get worried. It's nice. Sometimes it doesn't work, but, most of the time I can look and say, yeah, the house hasn't been tampered with. Sometimes I run up the hill on my street and run back down. In fact, I did that. I'm still kind of sweaty because I did that just a bit ago. Sometimes, like at a rehearsal, music rehearsal, I'll sit there and I'll have some tacos, because sometimes eating for me helps me to be around groups of people. Earplugs are really, really helpful, and I might do a whole thing about, maintaining my earplugs, but I just filled these up. I have 2 pair in here, and I keep them in my pocket all the time. And I am like the self-care monster when it comes to carrying around all this shit in my pockets, my jacket pockets, and my backpack that I carry around almost everywhere. So, Thank you for putting up with my wonderful manic chatty stuff. Until next time.